Hey everybody, this is Samantha Fish, and you are tuned into On The FlipSide with Java John on wfit Public Radio for the Space Coast.
I've been seeing a little bit about you over the past 5 or 6 years, and I've enjoyed everything that I've seen and listened to. Probably mostly when the Chills and Thrills CD came out, but I never listened to the whole CD. I just heard a number of songs that I really liked, and then you come out with this new one, Faster, and I'm telling you, I think this is an amazing CD. It almost feels like a concept CD. I don't know why, but can you tell me a little bit about the process of putting together? Oh gosh, what's the name of the new one? Faster.
Kind of like the concept behind it?
Yeah, if there is one.
I mean, I started working on Faster during the pandemic, and that was when 2020 is when I met Martin, the producer for the record, and we just kind of met as acquaintances. He kind of knew me through Kansas City, and we just had like mutual adoration and chit chat kind of thing. And it wasn't until later in the year we decided, hey, let's do this record together. I guess when I listen to the record as a whole and kind of like the sentiment I feel is it's sort of an empowering one, and
Yes.
sort of it's about owning yourself and confidence and swagger, and it just sort of oozes that,
Yes.
to me, and it's danceable and it's positive, and I to me it's like one of the more upbeat collections of songs I've put out in years, and I think it's just funny juxtaposed against what was the pandemic, because it was so not like the vibe of the time. But I think I was writing from a place of where I wanted to be and how I wanted to feel and how I wanted to make people feel when we came out of this. And, so that was kind of where Faster was born from. And sometimes, the concept is realized, as after, you've made the songs or something. I mean, I didn't go into this thinking like, I want to make something with a positive message, to make people feel better. But it was like,
Right.
it just is sort of kind of what happened. It was the mood I was in, and, we were creating and choosing songs. And, and I wanted to continue down the road of, how can I introduce synthesizers into blues music? And I wanted to keep things very rock and roll. And, how can I, so like just challenging myself in that way musically. And then, the music meets the message, and voila, Faster.
There. Wonderful. Back to Chills and Thrills real quick. Like I said, I'd only heard parts of it, and I loved it, but I had never heard until like last month, Hello Stranger. And
Yeah.
It's a Barbara Lewis tune, right?
Yes,
Yes.
Barbara Lewis.
And that song, came out when I was 3 years old, and I have loved it all my life. I love the Yvonne Elliman version. I love Barbara Lewis's version. But when yours came out, I haven't stopped listening to that song in weeks. It is amazing. Thank you very much for that.
Thank you. I just, that was from the Chills and Fever record, and we, I got to work with a producer named Bobby Harlow. We decided to do all covers of songs that, I'd say Hello Stranger is probably the biggest hit off of the list of songs that we did, but the idea was to kind of choose songs that sounded like hits, but for whatever reason, just weren't these massive, globally known,
Right.
anthems. And, but Hello Stranger was, I was a little nervous about that one just because it was so outside of what I normally would consider doing. And, but once we got in the studio and we started cutting it, I'm like, oh, this is like probably one of the most beautiful songs on the whole record.
What a groove.
Yeah, it's incredible. We still play it live. I mean, I love that song.
Oh, I know. It keeps popping up in my feed, so I watch them all.
Oh, good.
Yes, and I apologize for calling your record Chills and Thrills.
It's okay. We've called it so many things. Chills and Fever is the actual name of the record, but it's Chills and Thrills works too.
Okay.
I knew what you're talking about.
I caught a glimpse somewhere, and I read or saw in an interview something about the Samantha Fish band having an amazing work ethic. Can you elaborate on that a little bit?
Well, we work a lot.
Okay.
I guess that these days is like a work ethic. But we, I don't know. I mean, I've always had bands that hit the road and, wants to make a record. And honestly, I know a lot of artists that do that who work in the capacity that we do. It's not for the faint of heart, for sure.
No.
But, I mean, I've logged lots of miles. These days it's a little bit easier. I mean, back when it was a 15-passenger van, I mean, it could be kind of grueling at times, but,
Oh, yeah.
Supposedly I'm young, so, it's the time to do it, I guess.
You are quite young, yes.
Supposedly.
You got a lot of years of rocking ahead of you, young lady.
There you go. Well, I hope so.
Speaking of young, have you like ever mentored any young artists?
Well, it's not like the movies where we're like, doing montages together or anything, but I don't know. We do. I don't know. I mean, I talk to younger artists, if someone reaches out and needs, has a question or something, I definitely, I'll stop and at least give them my experience, which
Sure.
is unique, and it doesn't work for everybody. There's so many ways to get to the top of your own personal mountain. It's taken me years to kind of realize, like, I think I used to be a little pushy with the advice, and I'm realizing now that it does different strokes, different folks. Like, it really, everyone is on their own journey, but all I can really offer up is my experience, my opinion about what they, if somebody has a question, or I'm more than happy to just lend an ear, or what I've gone through, which, I would hope that it could help somebody, but, that's the thing about advice, or, anything like that. You take it or leave it, and, everything's up to you and what you want to do. And I definitely, I try to be helpful, I guess.
Nice. Take what you can use and leave the rest, right?
Well, I mean, that's what it's always worked for me. I've done it a bunch.
Are there any new artists that are inspiring to you? Anybody out there that you got your eye on?
I haven't seen anybody. Well, with the pandemic.
Well, with the pandemic, they're all old now.
Can I use that as like the fallback for everything?
Absolutely.
Pandemic.
Absolutely.
To be honest, though, we haven't really done anything where I'm seeing a bunch of new artists. We did just do this cruise, though. There was a band that I thought was pretty awesome, and they're like, they're new, but I just want to make sure. Yeah, it's GA20. They were pretty great. They're not new, though. It's the thing. Just because I haven't heard of them doesn't. Just because I'm ignorant doesn't mean that it's a new band.
Well.
So I don't know. I mean, I try and keep my eyes open for new people, and young people coming into the same industry, because it's really, I mean, we're like, the blues world is kind of different. So it's nice every time you see like a young person want to pick up the torch and carry it. You got to open your eyes and check it out. But again, the pandemic kind of kept me from seeing any new music for a very long time. But
true.
I'll get back to it, I'm sure.
True. On the flip side of that, who were your inspirations to pick up a guitar?
Well, my dad and his like close personal people. It would be my dad, his friends, with like some family members, all played guitar.
Nice.
So it was happening right there in front of me, and then
Sure.
I'd listen to the radio and be like, God, I want to play guitar like Mike Campbell.
Mm-hmm.
And so just kind of the mix of listening to the radio, and you hear all this like rock and roll songs. It just seemed like so much fun to be a guitar player. But then once I started getting into that, I found that blues is like the root of all.
Yeah.
Of all of this music, and all these players that I was really idolizing. Like they were obsessed with blues, and like Keith Richards.
Yeah. Led Zeppelin.
Led Zeppelin, Angus. I was a big Angus Young fan,
Yeah.
And so I just started going backwards, and I really just kind of fell in love with every era of blues, the different regions. And I'd say I was particularly drawn probably to the North Mississippi sounds, just because I started on the drums, and I feel like it's very based
Yeah.
and, hypnotic and rhythmic. And so, I don't know. It's hard to pinpoint it to one exact moment where I was like, yeah, this is it, but it's a lot of little things that make a big thing.
Sure. Looks like we got a couple more minutes. I got a couple of questions from some fans, if I may. The first is who made your first oil can guitar? Now I know it's about cigar box guitars, but I don't know about oil can guitars. Is that a mistake or?
No. I only really have one oil can guitar. It was this man who used to come out and see us in St. Louis. But he was really, really nice, and he was always like very supportive of the band. This was back when I was in a trio.
Yeah.
And he was very supportive, and he came out and he just brought me this guitar one day. It was funny because then my bass player Chris goes, "I want one," and the next time he brought him one too.
Wow.
But it's an old supersonic kerosene can with like a Telecaster neck, Telecaster parts and stuff, and it's got kind of a raspy resonator quality to it. Honestly, it was getting so chewed up on the road. I kind of retired it to the wall for now.
Okay, I'll have to look for a video with it. I don't know if we have one more. You can make this real short. Another question was, how old were you when you first started a band?
Probably 19.
Oh.
I'd say I was 19, maybe 20.
Yeah, so you've been been doing it for a few years.
I've been doing it for a little bit.
Yeah. If you could sit in on one classic rock and roll performance, what would it be? Or blues performance, music performance.
Well, shoot, you already got me on rock and roll, and it was like my hero was Tom Petty, but
yeah,
I know that can't happen. But this is just idealistic. So I guess I would want to play with Tom Petty. Whatever song of his choosing, I would just do it. Blues performers. God, I'd love to play with R.L. Burnside.
Oh.
Again, can't do that, but whatever song he wants to play, I'm in.
Amen. Hey, where can the folks find you online?
SamanthaFish.com. They can find me there. They can also find me on Facebook. I have an official page. Don't fall for no fake accounts. I'm on Instagram, Samantha Fish Music. I'm on TikTok. I'm on everything, Twitter.
Nice.
I'm on it all.
And you're going to be all over Florida in the next couple of weeks, so we're going to inform the people about that.
Yeah, sounds great.
It's been a wonderful chat. I'm looking so much forward to seeing you live.
Thank you. We're excited to come to Florida. It's going to be a great trip.
Great. Thank you very much, Samantha. Have a wonderful day.
All right, you too. Bye-bye.